In Starfield, you are Neo. You are the one. All the special things happen to you because, I mean, you're playing the story. That's what video games are. But sometimes you want to see it from a different perspective, and that perspective can be so much fun.
Hey, this is Caleb, also known as Space Cadet, and you are listening to Starfield with Normal People.
Yes, you are. My name is Duane, and I'm here with Michael. Michael, dude, that was so fun getting to hang out with Space Cadet, meeting him in real life. What an awesome experience.
Yeah, it was so much fun. You know, Space Cadet's been such an active member of our community, and it was so fun to hang out and kind of discuss the game and other stuff.
He is an OG, as we're calling him, of the Starfield Adventure Club. And
yeah, and of the normal people.
Exactly. And it was what I found interesting about that whole encounter was just how passionate he is about role-playing.
Yeah.
When I heard him speaking to his role-playing experience in gaming and in Starfield specifically, as well as some other games, it really kind of enlightened me. Like I'm into role-playing, but not on the level of Space Cadet or yourself. Like I know it's big for you, and I know it's big for a lot of our community. And I didn't really understand it, I think. And I think, you know, what I took away from that meeting and that lunch was how cool role-playing can be and how much it can really improve your experience in the game.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've seen players say that are like, this doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that they don't understand why something's in the game. And my answer is always, well, it's there for role-playing.
Right.
That's
we were
why
talking about the computer screens a couple weeks ago. That's like, why would you put this hab in your ship? It's just a bunch of screens.
Yep.
Well, because spaceships have screens, and that's part of the whole role-playing experience. But
yeah,
one thing I found fascinating was his stories from Skyrim blew my mind. Like he was talking about how the alternate start mod, and I think it was survival mode, maybe not those two together, but he was talking about these mods and how he played the game using those mods and integrating role-playing into those experiences. That made me turn the corner on role-playing. Like before then, I was just kind of like, well, a lot of the role-playing is provided to me in games. So maybe that's why I'm not, you know, doing kind of these extra things that you know, deeper players are doing. And so that really kind of, like I said before, it kind of expanded my understanding of what people are doing from a role-playing perspective.
Well, and Starfield definitely also it appeals to role players of all different levels. So there are a lot of people that I think will go into a game and it's a soft role play where you go in and you do the story and you make decisions on what you say to people, but you are still guided by the story.
Right.
And yeah, stuff like alternate start mods that let you just have kind of a blank canvas for your story.
He gave the example of, you know, you're in Skyrim. You start out as just an average farmer. And I guess you find a scroll, whatever you find, I forget what it was, but you learn about kind of the events of the real starting point. And at that point, it presents you with the opportunity to go ahead, hey, if you want to go ahead and play the real story intro, you can via that access point.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to. You can simply go off into the woods and start hunting and role play as the average Joe. You're not the chosen one, in other words. You know, and I saw how that would relate to Starfield, because in Starfield, and with most video games, you are Neo from the Matrix. You know, you are the one. You are imbued with all the powers, and all the special things happen to you because, I mean, you're playing the story. That's what video games are. But sometimes you don't want to. You want to see it from a different perspective, and that perspective can be so much fun. Like I got so much from that meeting with Space Cadet. Like I didn't realize, and you had talked about it many times. Like you had talked about survival mode, and to me, I had this thing about survival mode that was, that's just hard. It's just hard mode basically. I didn't see the positives of it.
Right. And that's the thing is like, to me, yeah, exactly. It's not just for a challenge, because I don't even know if I care about a challenge that much in gaming anymore. I do sometimes, but
Right, because you're a god
no,
in video
yeah.
games, right? Like
Yeah.
you compared to the average spacer, you might be the same level. I mean, even if he's double your level, you're going to come out of that battle, 99
Yeah.
times out of 100, you're going to be victorious. Unless you're playing
Yeah,
Elden Ring,
absolutely.
then Elden Ring keeps it real.
Yeah, Elden Ring definitely, like, and I love Elden Ring, and that to me is like when I will actually take on the challenge. But no, yeah, like you were saying, like survival mode, for me it is a challenge, but it forces me to slow down, to go to the inn, to warm up by the fire, and obviously I'm talking about Skyrim here, not Fallout or Starfield, but yeah, I'm forced to warm up by the fire while listening to the bard play the lute, and then I have to go to the innkeeper and ask for something to eat and a place to stay for the night, because I need to sleep and I need to eat.
You said
And
that story to
is what
Space
it's
Cadet,
about.
but what you didn't relay just now was that the first part, which is you're walking around and you're starving and you're freezing and you're losing health. And
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that you could care less about in the normal game suddenly
Yep.
has importance. And you go into the inn and you see the warmth and feel the warmth of the fire, and you hear the lute. I mean, that is completely different experience versus vanilla Skyrim, when you just randomly see the inn, you go in one time, you get the quest, and then you're out, right?
Yeah, and many months ago we talked about Starfield and how there is so much atmosphere in the game that you kind of just fly past it all the time. You're running from here to there and the quick travel, like you just quick travel from spot to spot to do missions. And yeah, I'm really excited to have a reason baked into the game, a reason to go to the hotel and stay there for the night, a reason to go into the restaurants and the taverns and actually order food and eat it because
Right.
my character's hungry.
You made the analogy of what basically, you didn't say this in so many words, but I thought immediately of Westworld, the original.
Yeah.
It's Michael Crichton, right?
The original one, yeah.
And then the remake on HBO. It's all good stuff, right? But
Yep.
it's this land where you go to and there are synths, or, for lack of a better term, that
Yep.
help you role play. You could do that in Starfield given the right baked in ingredients, because Aquila City, or you had talked about Neon, going there, and I think Space Cadet said it too, is like, I went there, I dressed as a what is it, like cyberpunk style villain,
Yeah.
and I had to find a little, what's the little bin that you can sleep in?
Oh, the sleep crate.
The sleep
Yeah.
crate. So it's kind of this whole thing of like living and breathing in Neon for a couple of days and living out this character.
I like what he was saying too, where Space Cadet, like, got rid of all of his money and all of his supplies and everything.
Yeah.
So that he found a way to fake the alternate start mode in a way.
Right.
Got rid of everything that he had so that he was stuck in Neon.
Like you just got dropped off of a pirate
Yeah.
ship or something, right? And you have no money, you
Yeah.
have no food, and you got to somehow figure out how to survive.
Yeah, and I think one way, like, and yes, I know if we're on PC, the mods are there, so get the mods. But for those of us like that are looking for it to be baked into the experience, or if we're on console at the moment, I suppose one way you could do this is say, I can't use the ship they gave me. I have to act like I don't have a ship. You just have to pretend, right? Don't use the ship that they gave you. So now you're stuck in a location.
Well, could you sell it?
No, it doesn't let you, because I've tried. I'm bugged that it won't let you sell it, even if you get a new ship, you can't sell it.
Right.
I'm actually on a New Game Plus, where I went to the lodge, just like you do in every New Game Plus, to start the adventure. And I basically just dipped out. I didn't go. I didn't
Just
talk
like
to
real
anyone. Like,
you're always dipping out of parties early.
yeah. So I go. Yeah, exactly. So I go and I dip out, and I just basically started exploring. Not even adventuring, really. I'm actually playing it like sort of like No Man's Sky, which is actually something I wanted to bring up, because we're, when Space Cadet talked about getting rid of all of his money and supplies and starting out with no ship, right? It did remind me of how No Man's Sky starts. You're stranded on a planet with a broken ship. And it takes so much effort to repair things and gather materials and repair your ship that by the time you actually take off and are leaving the planet, it's an amazing feeling.
Right?
And
it's like Act 1 is complete in that book.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a good, like, you earned that takeoff. And I think that's what I'm missing from Starfield, is feeling like I earned my way off of that planet or onto another planet or into another solar system.
Yeah, we talk about how the game seems to be made for every gamer, which may have been a mistake. Instead of drilling down on some of these more tedious things to make it feel more rewarding, it was kind of glossed over, and you can immediately jump into 50 different things without necessarily earning them, as you say. So that could be actually be a detriment to the game.
I think a lot of people are feeling like it could have made you earn things a little bit more. It's definitely, it's great that it fits the story, like you're zipping around and adventuring, and I like that. I'm ready to be stuck somewhere and have to earn my way out of it.
Yeah, and it sounds like, you could do what Space Cadet did, which is, if you want to try something like that, you certainly can. You could just go fly to Neon or, one of the other cities, or even anywhere else, literally, and just try to do the same thing.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is I'm not doing that, but I kind of feel like I'm doing something similar, where with this one, I haven't touched any of the main quests. I like that they're out there. I like that they're untouched, and there's all this adventure that has not been had yet by my character. And I got Rosie, the doctor, and we're just building a settlement. And that's what I'm doing, is just building a settlement on a planet. And I'm actually really enjoying myself.
That's cool. That does sound like fun. I mean, and speaking of fun and speaking of settlements, Drifting Dusty from our Discord just posted that he came upon a new settlement. What did he find, Michael?
Yeah, a Drifting Dusty found a settlement where people are living in old shipping containers.
We haven't seen that yet, right? Like, I've never seen that.
We haven't. So I haven't seen that.
The timing of it is suspiciously near the patch that just went out to everybody as of this recording yesterday, right?
Right.
Could we have gotten new POIs and new things in the game that were not previously seen in the patch that weren't?
It makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be expecting like a huge revamp of tons of them, but it is possible. Now, I would love if somebody's listening and you've seen this before and it's not new and we're unlucky, let us know. But
And it looked like a couple of, just to clarify, it looked like a couple of shipping containers stacked on top of each other, one or two on the side, and then there was a couple people hanging out, right?
Yeah, they had like sort of like sleeping bags and furniture and stuff inside the shipping containers. And so I think it's very possible that there are POIs that were not finished on time by the release of the game that possibly are getting added, piece by piece in these updates. So I could see that happening.
Sure.
But either way, very cool. I definitely wouldn't mind if new POIs keep popping into the game over time.
Yeah. Well, eventually someone's going to gentrify that settlement and turn those shipping containers into some Art Nouveau settlements that will be all fancy.
Yeah. Just like they did here in lovely downtown Las Vegas.
Shout out to Container Park.
Woo! Yeah, if you haven't been to Vegas, if you come down, go to the Container Park because there's a giant praying mantis that shoots fire out of its antennae.
That thing regularly scares the bejesus out of me. I'll just be walking by and you don't know it's going to go off and suddenly like 20-foot tall flames are shooting out of its antenna and it's loud and you're like, oh my God.
Swoosh. Yeah.
And there's always like some sketchy people sitting around. And so I'm sure that's their main entertainment is just watching like people getting, scared every 15 minutes.
Scared of the praying mantis. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I've got a question for you, Duane, because somebody modded into the game radio stations.
Cool.
So let's say you're kicking it around, flying around the galaxy with the Constellation crew, and you've got radio stations. Who are you letting pick the music?
Cora. It'd all be like teen bop and bop and every other kind of bop this side of 13 years old. It'd be fabulous. Now,
well, I will say, like, Cora is at that age where she wants to be cool, right? So she's going to be listening to all the, like, if you want to know what the newest, coolest music is in the settled systems, probably Cora will know.
She would be a great source, no doubt. So wait, are you asking me, like, musical preference, IRL?
I'm asking you, this is a multifaceted question in that, what do you think they listen to, the Constellation people, and then who matches with what you want to listen to?
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm recalling heavy metal, there's like this cartoon called Heavy Metal, and there's a segment, it's from the 80s going way back, but there's a segment of these aliens flying a ship, and I think they're jamming out to like a radio. It's like it feels very 50s car culture, but translated in space. Like you're cruising, you got your car stereo, and then I don't know if it's video games imitating art or what happened, but there was kind of this whole era in video games and film and stuff with science fiction where music was such an integral part of the culture in the future. So there was always some kind of like stereo or some kind of like thing centered around music. So yeah, it feels humans are always going to have music. So it feels like something is missing. I would absolutely love if they had. I mean, that was what was so cool about Grand Theft Auto was hearing real music. I know it's expensive as all get out to license these famous songs. So it wouldn't happen, but man, it would be awesome to be able to stream current music, or even if they had their own made up future music and you had a stereo system in your spaceship and you could just turn it up and you could add different kind of speakers and stuff.
I remember playing the original Crackdown game, and Crackdown didn't have the budget that Grand Theft Auto had. Mm-hmm. So what they did was, if I'm not mistaken, they had a bunch of music from like indie artists that weren't very well known,
right?
But it was very like sort of like a futuristic sound because it was, very modern, very electronic. And so what was cool was it wasn't music I'd ever heard of. And so it was very like, I kind of felt like I'm in the future. This is like what they're going to listen to in the future.
Yeah.
Mass Effect had an end credits song, the original one from a band called Fonts that I had never listened to prior. And it sounded very futuristic, and I remember just going, this is badass. So it introduced me to this new group.
There would be a million indie artists out there that would love to have their music showcased in a game like Starfield.
Yeah.
So Bethesda, if you're listening, build it, and they will come. You can have free or pay next to nothing for hours and hours, hundreds of hours of free music. I mean, you yourself produce music. Shout out to what's your music name?
Neo Noir.
So shout out to Neo Noir. I mean, you can download his music on any of your favorite music apps.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a shame that there's no music. Yeah, it's like the score is beautifully done, but yeah, you're right. Like when you're walking through
music, I'm trying to think of other contemporary games
very much, but it's got to. I think it does.
I mean, like not just music in the game, but you know what I mean? Like, can you go to a club you're going to hear music in a club, but could you go to like a random shop and hear a specific radio station or something to that effect.
I don't know for sure, but I want to say yes. I want to say that it's kind of GTA like, but yeah, I don't know for sure because I do need to play that one. And I know that they have some music sometimes, like some bars will have like, you know, some beats playing. You know, if you go to Astro Lounge, they've got that DJ up there. What is her name?
DJ Khaled.
You do a mission for her. Yeah, if you haven't yet, you can go into the Astro Lounge and go up and talk to the DJ, and actually she'll give you a mission.
I talked to the dancers in the middle because they do talk to you briefly.
They talk to you? I think
so. I think they have dialogue if I remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. They're like, get off the stage. What are you doing?
I'm kind of busy right now. Talking about weird NPC things, we'll get back to this in a second, but I was playing 2 days ago. I landed in New Atlantis. I started to walk through that security area, and I noticed something really weird happening. Every NPC that wasn't a security guard was running, and they were all running.
Really?
They were all running in the same direction. At first, I thought, because I had recently gone through that event where, you know, events in the game lead to a change in New Atlantis temporarily.
Yeah.
But that was like 10 hours ago in gameplay.
Yeah, I was going to say there's scripted events that send people running, but
right.
If you're not in that,
I was not in that phase of the game, and it was a normal daytime, you know, visit to the city, and literally every NPC that wasn't a security guard running. So I'm like, where are they going? So I go a little further. I go up the security scan ramp as you enter the main portion of New Atlantis. And you know how it has the UC prison right there on the right?
Yeah.
That's where they were going. Every single NPC was running to that door and disappearing inside. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I decided to just wait there. And I could see, I mean, we're talking dozens and dozens of NPCs. And so that made me think literally every single one that was rendered in that zone.
That's funny.
Was running there. And then, so I saw
maybe a very famous prisoner was being released that day.
So as I see it start to dwindle down, and I see a couple stray people making their way. They're still running, but they were like at the furthest reaches of New Atlantis from where they started or whatever. So I go inside, nothing, you know, no one's inside. I come back out, 0 NPCs. Like they're all gone except for the security guards. Anyway, but yeah, it would be cool to have stereos.
So weird. You know, but it's funny.
You know what made me think of that? Sorry to interrupt. Like dancing. Dancing is such an integral part of like World of Warcraft and all these kind of games where, especially
even
multiplayer
Fortnite,
games. Yeah. Why don't we have dancing and dance moves in Starfield? Because if we're going to have the music, I mean, it would be really cool to, we just got the expressions in the latest patch. How about some dance moves?
That's right. Yeah, why not? I've seen some single player games that like have what's basically emotes, you know, because it does come down to the role playing. Even Mass Effect had clubs where if you went on the dance floor, it would prompt you with a button and you could just start dancing. And like, what's the purpose of that? Does it give you an XP boost? No, it doesn't. It's just fun. It's just funny to look at. Yeah, and actually some NPCs, like your partners, if you go somewhere like a club or a bar and there's music playing, that's, if you hang out for a bit, they will start dancing.
It's like the Sarah execution animation, right? Given the circumstance, like she'll start jamming out. Like, so who has the best moves? Have you seen all the 4 companions?
I haven't looked carefully. I would guess they all have the same thing, but
right.
But I'm just assuming. I'm not sure.
I hope they have different ones, because I have
that would be cool.
Sam Co dance that I'm hoping is, you know, pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's spectacular. But yeah, so all right. Now, so in this scenario though, you're on your ship, radios. Who are you letting pick the music?
Me. I'm not letting anyone else pick the music. When I drive my car, like I tell my kids, like, can you turn that down? I'm like, no, I can't. This is my car. You know, when you get your car, go ahead. You can listen to whatever you want to listen to. But now the exception is my wife. Like, she's the wonderful person that she is. She's not a she's not a musical person like I am. Like I am passionate about music.
Yeah.
She likes music and stuff. Of course, she's a normal person, but
Yeah.
she's not passionate. Like,
yeah.
she won't just put on a set of headphones and sit on a couch and just like, you know, really, really get into it like I will. And so
yeah,
it almost becomes like when you're in a public setting, or if you're in your spaceship with other companions and you're role playing, you can't really truly enjoy the music like you would in your own little solo environment, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, because they're NPCs. They don't have feelings. Fish don't have feelings either, according to Kurt Cobain. But, you know.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think my fish has feelings.
You think so?
Maybe.
Oh,
Let me ask him.
it's cute.
Hey, buddy, you got feelings?
You do have an aquarium right there on your desk, don't you?
Yeah, next to, yep.
What's
right
your fish's name?
This fish is named Plague, actually, because we got it, and we got it from the pet store, and it had something, and it gave it to everyone else and killed everyone except him. So he's the carrier.
He's patient zero.
Yeah, Patient Zero would be a great name for this fish too.
Oh.
Yeah, but hey, you made it, buddy. Good job.
You talked about music. Recently you said you're now playing without music completely. So you turned your music off.
Yes, and I did want to talk about this. So I've definitely gone through phases with this, and I've done this in Skyrim as well. But basically, many episodes ago, I talked about how I turned the music up because I wanted to hear it, and it was too low in the game's mix, in my opinion. Lately, yes, I've turned the music all the way off, all the way down. It is really, really good because the sound design in this game is incredible. It's one of the best things that they've done. I have not
speakers, found... Oh, you're wearing the headphones with your Xbox, right?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm just playing with the sound bar or the...
I guess what I'm getting at, is it stereo? Is it 5.1? What are we working with here?
For me, it's just stereo. Like the best the quality that I'm getting is like the stereo headphones.
Okay.
That are, over the ear.
Right, with the surround sound digitally enhanced within the stereo. It's basically,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically with the headphones on, it's pretty much surround. But even, like, the sound effects are so good, and they did such a good job with the atmosphere. So, like, whether you're on an airless moon or, like, when you're on a planet with forests, like, you'll hear, like, birds and bugs and stuff, and it's very cool. And I actually really like how I'll be on the same planet. So I was on a winter mountain, cold, snowy planet. I was down in the forest and I could hear like birds and stuff, and you can hear the wind blowing through the trees. And then I jetpack up the mountain. The sound's totally different. Like you get a little distance from the trees, and now it's like really kind of like the sound of like a bitter wind. And it just, I have to say, like, you feel the altitude change with the sound design.
I like the idea of this because too often you're getting shot at music.
Yeah.
Just overpowers. And you're like, oh, there's one more runaway fauna that, attacked me and then ran away really far. And now I've still got the adventure music playing.
You still have that, yeah.
So, yeah, I might try that. That sounds delightful.
I actually highly recommend it. As good as the music is, and it's very good, I have not really had a desire to put it back on. I think it's good when you're doing the story. I think when you're doing the story and you're fully like, getting that adventure.
It's a kind of cinematic movie-like feeling of the single-player story. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's good. But once you start getting into just sort of like messing around in the game and exploring and doing what you want to do, and I have to tell you, I've only experienced this in my little like outposting building adventures. I have not gone back and walked around the city. So actually, what I don't know, and I'll be very interested to find out, is if I go to a bar I hope that their music is still playing. And I think it probably is.
That's ambient versus, a track.
Like a score. Yeah,
that makes sense. So the new outpost that you've built, I'm assuming it's the new one because you're no longer on the planet that only has 1 hour of daylight, right? For this new adventure.
Yeah, I could not commit to that place. No, no, not enough sunlight.
I need my sunlight. So the rumor about you being a vampire is false then?
That is false, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm on this amazing planet that was part of our, Starfield Adventure Club this week. And I'm in this area that has a bunch of lakes around it.
What planet?
It's very nice. So yeah, our Starfield Adventure Club location this week was Nemeria 4A. And I actually chose that because I had found it and I was like, I'm not leaving this planet for a while. And it has so many unique biomes that you could stay on the same planet and have a bunch of different places to go visit.
Right. What's the fauna like there?
The fauna so that's the only thing that I think it's kind of lacking. It's not my favorite fauna, but they have these sort of like, what it reminds me of? The blobfish? You always see like pictures of in real, like on Earth, in real life. There's the blobfish looking thing. They have something like that, but it flies around very slowly.
Deep underwater thing?
Yeah, it's super deep underwater fish.
Yeah, okay.
And apparently the blobfish, it kind of has this famous image that's like very funny looking. And apparently that's not doing it justice because when it's underwater, it actually doesn't look like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of those deep water fish where if you bring them to the surface, they don't look anything like because they have bioluminescence, right? Some of them do.
It's that, and it like changed its shape. Like its shape is different underwater.
More like a blob?
No, I think less like a blob. It sort of blobs out when it comes up.
It's actually a skinny fish underwater. Out of water, it's a blobfish. Sounds like me.
But yeah, there's some big blobfish looking things that fly around. And what's funny is where I chose to put my outpost is in the swamp biome. And there's actually zero fauna there. So it's very peaceful.
Right.
But
you're not randomly getting interrupted by gators, alien gators.
No, and my...
Side note, by the way.
Yeah.
Most people are afraid of sharks. Not me. Alligators. That's what I'm afraid of.
100%. Alligators are 1,000 times scarier than
I feel
a shark.
like in my life, not that I'm hanging around swamps much, but like I feel like I have a better chance of getting killed by an alligator or a crocodile than I do a shark. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled show. I think you do.
No, but real quick, like I think that's true because like shark attacks are so rare. So if you want to put this in practice, like if you go to a beach, like 99 times out of 100, people are going to tell you, oh, yeah, you can swim in the water. It's fine. Very rare that you're going to be attacked. But what happens when you go to Florida? People are like,
do not go
be careful.
Right.
Do not go near any tiny puddle you might think does not have a crocodile or an alligator in it.
I'm just thinking of like how I grew up in the Arizona desert, and you always have these local bits and pieces of wisdom. Like, everything in the desert can poke you or sting you, basically, is kind of the rule of thumb.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of like Florida people or swamp people that have all these. Yeah. Just don't even go near the water. Do you like that limb?
Don't.
Because if you dip it in the water, there's a chance there's something with a lot of teeth hanging out inches away.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed, building this outpost because that's been, what we talked about. That's been part of my role-playing experience. I am not doing the story. I'm not doing any missions at the moment. I can do that later if I want to, but for right now, I'm just surviving on a planet in a game that doesn't have a survival mode yet.
Right. Yeah. Another thing that Space Cadet brought up was he was playing Helldivers, which is a pretty popular game right now. And
yeah, Helldivers 2. Yeah.
Yeah, Helldivers 2. My first impression when I saw the game was that it was kind of like Risk of Rain 2, if you're familiar with that game, or it's just kind of like this shooter thing where hordes of things are being thrown at you. Kind of like, to take it back to my era, there was a first-person shooter that was just hordes coming at you all the time. I'm spacing on the name. It doesn't matter.
Wait, not Left 4 Dead.
No, it was before that. Left 4 Dead's a good example, though, too. But at any rate...
Well, I loved Gears of War and playing Horde mode with people.
Right. There's a fun element to getting swamped. But initially, I thought that was that was it. That was just another flavor type.
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 was just another flavor in that genre. It turns out that there's a very interesting role-playing element that I wasn't aware of that Space Cadet described, which is basically there's one dude. I think he said his name was like Joel or something. I forget the name. But
yeah,
there's one guy orchestrating, kind of acting as the DM, if you will, of all these hundreds of thousands of players that are, and
right.
You get missions and you get objectives and you're moving a needle. You're physically, moving this percentage needle to try to win the war. And I found
a long war campaign. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going on. Yeah.
I found that absolutely fascinating. I thought it was brilliant, and it made me think of, what can Starfield do? It's nowhere near the same genre of game, but it could still take
and it's not even multiplayer.
It's not even multiplayer, but it could still take a page out of that book. And we could also, as normal people, we could take a page out of that book and do something with our SAC, our Starfield Adventure Club, where we could incentivize, or we could, make some other element and act as DM sort of to change it up a little bit. Because I do think it's great currently, but also would like to see something a little more interactive and something a little more incentivized within that system. So if you guys have suggestions, let us know in the SAC suggestions channel that we have on our Discord.
Yeah.
Or hit us up on a YouTube comment. But anyway, there's this kind of idea, Michael, of meta, right? Like stuff that's beyond the game. When I'm saying meta.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say that, like, originally when we started the Starfield Adventure Club, I just saw it as a way to sort of give us another segment in the show. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, we opened it up to listeners and people in our Discord, and we were just blown away by how people took it and ran with it. And now there's full-on stories, and the stories have become so good. But of course, so people don't get intimidated, you don't have to do a story. You can just go and explore, take some beautiful screenshots, and you know what? Don't even have to be beautiful. You can take ugly screenshots. Whatever you want to do.
Well, that's subjective. And one man's ugly is another man's beautiful.
Exactly. No, but my point is, like, it's been so great to just see people go be a part of that. And it was awesome to hear Space Cadet even mentioning, like, how it became this group thing now. And and absolutely, like, when we first started playing Starfield, all of us are having different experiences. And so now going to a planet and then seeing other people post the same, like, I found this thing that looks like a T-Rex. I found this thing that looks like a blobfish. And it's like, I did too. Like, it becomes exciting, like, to have everyone doing the same thing. Anyway, I totally agree. Like, I would love to hear people's ideas, but yes, Duane and I are looking to apply a meta game, to what we're doing with the Starfield Adventure Club. I think it could be very exciting and very fun. And again, it is a single player game, but we found a way to make it a community effort through the Starfield Adventure Club. And the idea of gamifying that, it's very cool.
Let me spitball that for a second. So, like, what if I say, hey, we're trying to all find one of these new container points of interest. And we know for a fact that it spawns on this week's Adventure Club planet. Go ye, therefore, into all the world and find one of these container settlements. And, post what you find. And, point is, let's make a little mission, or that's just an idea. Like, we could make a little mission, kind of like what Helldiver DM is doing, saying, hey, we got to conquer this particular thing so we can move the needle percentage in the grand scheme of things. So I do think that would be kind of fun. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to look or what to do, but again, if you have an idea, let us know.
Yeah, we've got things that we're spitballing, and would love to hear just what anyone thinks sounds like fun. I would love to get it set up in the Discord where you actually have sort of like a points board, a leaderboard or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it gets wiped every time there's a new location. There's something here. There's definitely something here.
I do think we could also bring the coffee mug back too. Like, I've been wanting to reintroduce that. We have a lot of patches we got to go through, thanks to Ziegler Rocks.
We do have some patches to send out to people still, but yeah, there's the coffee mug, and there's some other things that we can do as well. You know, we've got stickers. And this year, we're actually going to be, like, I personally want to start creating some new designs, you know, for our group, and especially for the Patreon. Patreon has a way to set up sort of a loyalty campaign so that, you know, every 3 months that you're with us and supporting us, you know, another sticker gets sent out, or maybe another T-shirt, depending on what level you are. But
sure,
there's a lot of really fun things that we can do in that regard.
I was just thinking, like, what if 1 week for SAC we did exactly what to bring up Space Cadet again? But I mean, he had a great idea with it, which is to, like, you got to go to this planet and you got to pretend like you have no spaceship, and you got to wait until someone lands, and you got to steal their spaceship, you know, something like that.
Steal a ship, yeah.
And just tell us the adventure that you had and what happened. I think that'd be fun.
I think that would be really fun. Yeah, like yes, because everyone is going to get a different ship landing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not into, like, melee, it's like this week's challenge is we're sending you to a planet with no weapons. You can't use guns of any kind for whatever reason. You need to find a melee weapon, or you need to box your way out of a POI of some kind, right?
Now, this happened to me accidentally once. So it was right after the first time I did New Game Plus. And we had started a new Starfield Adventure Club location like the day after. And I remember I was like, I want to participate. So I right away, with my brand new character, NG Plus character, I went to that planet, and it was no joke. Like, there was a lot of fauna that was dangerous. And it suddenly dawned on me as I landed and started running around. I was like, I don't have a gun. I don't have it. I don't have anything. I don't have a weapon of any kind. And it was really, really exciting.
Did you do what Keanu Reeves said? I need guns.
I need guns.
More guns. What did he say?
No, guns. Lots of guns.
That's it.
And here's what's great about Keanu Reeves is we all know he says that in The Matrix. I believe he has the exact same line in John Wick.
He does.
I would need to compare.
That. Yeah, it was like
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Like, homage to that moment.
But I will say that when I was on a planet running from dangerous creatures with no weapon, and I was looking for the first POI I could find just so I could get any weapon, super fun.
That sounds just like some of the nightmares that I have, except I'm not wearing pants either. So no gun, bunch of stuff is chasing me, and also no pants.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic right there. But in any case, there's a lot of fun changes coming to the Discord. So if you're a listener and you haven't clicked on the Discord link to join, go ahead and do that. You know, we've actually spoken to a lot of people, including Space Cadet, where Discord was sort of new to them. So I do understand people that are fans of the show and they listen, but they like, I've never jumped into Discord before. Yeah. It's, you know, just click the link.
It's free.
We got an amazing group of people. Yeah, it's a free thing. Like, you don't pay for it. If you're not aware what it is, like, you go there and you can chat with people, and we have an amazing group, and they'll help you out.
Do you remember AOL chat rooms? Are you that old?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
AOL chat rooms. Yeah.
I got to get into Cat Chat 23. That's my chat room.
Yeah. Should we? Yeah, maybe we should have a Starfield Adventure Club AOL chat room for people to join.
Michael, you came across a Reddit post where a Starfield player proclaimed that he was a god, more or less.
Oh no, he deleted it. Do I still have it open?
No.
He freaking deleted it while we were doing this.
Oh, well, you could summarize it, right? It's too bad you can't read it word for word. Oh, you found it?
Oh, thank God. I have it on a tab that I didn't close. That's so funny. Okay, yes, this post just made me laugh, and we definitely have been making an effort not to, talk about the negatives and on the podcast because hey, we all just love the game. That's why we're here. But this was so funny to me, and I'm going to be reading this in what I imagine
verbatim.
I'm going to read it verbatim in what I imagine his voice sounds like. Okay.
Can't wait for this.
Title is, After a Certain Point, What's the Point? I've played the crap out of this game since its release. I've done the New Game Plus thing, didn't like it, so I started a new character, and I'm getting a bit bored now. I've got an unbeatable ship, full crew, manned outposts, generating goods for XP and money, maxed out weapons and spacesuits, finally almost 4 million in credits. Now what? The bad guys are no match in any system, and I have nothing worth spending the credits on that would be better than what I already have. My only game goal now is to level up and unlock all the skills, which is a lot of repetitive farming and selling. What now? First off, let me just say,
quit the game.
This man is, I was going to say, he sounds like the ultimate badass.
Yeah.
So I commented on this earlier because I couldn't resist. I did.
I have so many things to say, but I'm just a little stunned because I'm not sure which of the routes to go. Like, do I be sarcastic? Do I be understanding that it's, maybe it's a younger kid? I don't know. But honestly, I'm a little stunned. I don't know what to say.
Well, and it's one of the things is like, I don't understand min-maxing. Like, it's fun to the power fantasy is great. It's fun to become very powerful, like, and I love that, especially with these types of games. But at a certain point, when it's a single player game, at a certain point you just say you beat it,
right?
Good job.
Well, I was going to say
did it.
Also that he's missing out on the whole thing that we talked about this whole podcast, which is basically role playing. He's not role playing, he's simply playing the game.
Yeah.
Hey, to this poster, why don't you try one of the things that we talked about? Like 4 million, who gives a crap? Get rid of all your credits. It'll set you free from a gameplay perspective. Get rid of everything.
Seriously.
And just go see what happens, because that could be a whole new world, a whole fantastic point of view.
And I saw a lot of comments that were along those same lines. They were saying you could try role-playing. And some of them were snarky. They said, well, you could try role-playing in this role-playing game. But
what was your comment?
So my comment was you could volunteer at an animal shelter or organize a food drive and give back to the community.
You basically said touch grass in not so many words.
Yeah. I was like, dude, leave the house and talk to a person. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, posts like that, it was just way too funny. And the fact that like it had been deleted, I mean, it's like, dude, yeah.
Well, that's actually a good thing, because maybe they realized, hey, you know what? Some of these responses were true. Like, I haven't tried this, or I haven't done that, or maybe they're like, that was the impetus they needed to know that they were done with the game at that point.
Yeah.
And just to move on.
And what's funny, though, is this does seem to be something that some gamers bring up as sort of like a knock against the game. And it's like, not all games should be games you just play forever. Like, which is saying something, because I think Bethesda games are, but only if you enjoy it. Like,
right.
I don't know, like my backlog of games is so ridiculous that.
Hey, can we tease that you're going to stream Fallout New Vegas?
Yes. So as a huge Bethesda fan, for whatever reason, for whatever life reasons, I played Fallout 3. I never played Fallout Vegas. And then or Fallout New Vegas. And I skipped over it, and I played Fallout 4, and I played all these other things. So yes, I am going to start streaming on our YouTube channel. So same one that if you've already subscribed to us, that's the same channel. And I am going to be streaming At the moment, it looks like it's going to be on Tuesdays.
I had this fantasy that I was going to come over to your house and sit on your couch and drink beer while you did this.
You know,
because in my mind, this is going to be like the most entertaining thing for me personally, because I love Fallout New Vegas. I think it's one of the best in the series. And it's like the thing where you like, you and I are both passionate about movies. It's the thing where you sit next to your spouse or whoever,
right,
your son or whoever it is, and you're excited
show someone
for
a
them,
movie. Yep.
Yes, to experience what you have experienced in this. And everybody has built this game up to an unreasonable amount of, expectations for you. So, but it would still be interesting to watch your reactions and to watch you play. So I'll be tuning in to watch you play.
And despite the expectations that people have built up, like I don't think I will have unrealistic expectations. I think I
Dude,
played,
look at these graphics.
Yeah, I played so much Fallout 3. I know what it looks like. I'm not gonna be negatively affected by that, I don't think.
No.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to play.
That'll be fun.
Especially as somebody that lives in Las Vegas. Like, I know that a lot of the locations are based on real life locations, and a lot of like Nevada history is sort of put into this. So I'm super pumped.
Yeah, Duane's House of Fun is a location that you can visit in there. Take that for whatever you will.
If you're a fan of that game, or if you're just curious how I'm gonna play it, you can watch that stream once it goes live.
Special thanks to our companions on Patreon. We got Space Cadet, Rampage, American X, Cherry Bomb, Griffin, Ben Price, Ziegler Rocks, and very special thanks to all of our boosters and supporters. Hey, if you're interested in supporting us on Patreon for $1 a month, you can get ad-free content, and the boosters and up get access to our bonus episode. Michael, that last one was a banger.
It was so fun to do. We had a lot of really great questions, and from what I heard, people enjoyed listening to it.
We should talk about your Fallout New Vegas experiences on the next bonus episode.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
I'd love to feature maybe some of our OG crew on Discord too. Like, hey, this is so-and-so, this is what they do. Like some of our companions, if they're willing,
Yeah. Put a little spotlight on the big members of our community. I like that. Well, thanks to everyone that listens on Spotify, Apple, and thank you to those watching on YouTube. All links are provided in the show notes below.
Yeah, and extra special thanks for comments and feedbacks. We do read every single one of them. I do. I know you do, because we talk about them later. You're like, oh, did you see that comment? And you're like, yep.
Yeah.
So we definitely read them. And
that's exactly how the conversation goes. Yep.
Yep. And so if you have a comment, suggestion, or an in-game story to share, you can leave a comment right there on the YouTube page, or like we said earlier, jump into our Discord, hang out with us, and jibber jabber.
Yeah. And if you like the show, please consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would help us out.
Thanks for traveling to Starfield with us. Make sure you subscribe, because we will be back for more next week.
All right. We will see you then.